bones and bone forms have always been interesting to artists, and this piece, the bone thought, was reinforced by the poem of A.E. Hoffman. The poem was called The Eternal Part, and the conceit of the poem was that the whole purpose of life was to produce the skeleton, the bones, the part that lasts forever. In the poem, he speaks of the transiency of the fire of sense and the smoke of thought. I made first a maquette, which I made in wax and had cast in bronze, about 8 inches high, or 10 inches high, and then I later on was able to get this nice piece of marble, and I've carved the stone in the scale in which I first envisioned it. This is a piece of black granite. It's a wonderful, enduring stone. When working on this hole, it was a long process to get through, and I remember I did it in the desert where I have a studio, and I finally got through and opened up a little hole about 1 inch in diameter, and as I looked through the hole for the first time, it was centered right on a beautiful mountain that stands in the distance. The stone itself is a landscape of opposition, and sometimes it's necessary to go through. This is another piece of black granite. It's a kind of space form. It has this rough texture and surface. Look, just the split surface of the stone, which is one of the most beautiful surfaces that one can get with stone. And it's really more difficult than making a highly finished piece, because you have to devise a technique that allows you to leave just the split surface without tool marks, which appear as mars for the most part. I did leave these drill holes from splitting off a big piece of the stone here, because they speak a little bit of how it was done. This is a plaster for a bronze. It's going to be cast immediately after this show. The forms came from a great root stump I saw in the forest. And while they didn't suggest an eagle, they did suggest this uprising feeling, and in my piece I've tried to make the most of that. This is the same black granite as the large rough pieces, but this one is finished with a polished surface. The form is both suggestive of a bird going up and of a double axe. And my thought was that we have that choice between war and peace. This is a bronze, and the form is non-existent. It's created by space. It's sort of a Taoist sculpture in a way. These bronze plates create the shape that give the form that is the subject of the sculpture.